warm welcome to SA Decides, brought to you by ANN7. My name is Audrey Chimwanda. I'll be the moderator for this debate. This time, we're coming to you from the Western Cape in George Municipality. They say it's the city for all reasons. We'll be finding out what some of those reasons are and what concerns the residents of this municipality may have. That we'll be posing them to my panelists as usual. Let me take this opportunity to introduce to you who I have with me on the show today. We'll start with the Democratic Alliance. They have their mayoral candidate with us today. That's Councillor Malvin Naik. Thank you, sir, for joining us. To his right, we have from the ACDP, Dion Van Zyl. Thank you, sir, for joining us. And to his right as well, we have the ANC representative, and that's Councillor Charlie Williams. So thank you for joining us. We have from PBI as well, and that will be Councillor Virgil Gereke. Yes, and from ICOSA, we have a representative, Brandon Adams. Well, let's get the ball rolling. We'll start with the Democratic Alliance. Sir, in a minute, opening remarks. Tell us what the Democratic Alliance is about in this municipality, as you are the governing party.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Malvin Naik, as you have introduced myself, and I'm a proud member to be of the Democratic Alliance to represent the DA here this afternoon. As you have said, we are in government here in the George municipality. The reason why we are in government and why we have been one of the best run municipalities in South Africa is due to the service delivery that people of George are getting from this council. This is the reason why we have in-migration from all over the country into George. Especially closest to us is the Eastern Cape, and due to the level of service that people are receiving here and not in the city where a party such as the ANC is governing currently. So thank you.
Yes, that's a minute, sir. Thank you so much for those opening remarks. The ACDP, sir, in a minute. Please tell us what your party represents in this municipality.
Thank you, Audrey. Well, the ACDP, I think, from all the parties, has got the biggest mandate to live out and to deliver the services that we believe we have been given. And as a Christian party, we say that 80% of the people in this country in the 2011 census said that they are Christians. And unfortunately, we see that a lot of our Christians, unfortunately, they confuse their politics and their Christianity. And that's why we say that we want to bring that Christianity practically to the people that need it most, so that they can benefit from the services, that they can benefit from the best that is available to them without corruption, without having people stealing the money, without people lying. So what we are saying is we want to deliver full scale on a Christian mandate to our people.
Thank you for those opening remarks. We go to the ANC now, sir, very quickly in a minute. What are your priorities as the ANC in this municipality?
The ANC's priority in this municipality, one is to change the way services are delivered into this town. Because if you look in George, you'll see it's one town with two different communities. And the service delivery is just happening over the bridge. Because our town is the most beautiful town, but go to the backyards where the communities are. It's still terrible situations. So the ANC is there to come and change that face and bring forth the democracy which we fought for, that people may enjoy it, so that they may receive the services, and their lives must be improved. We've been fighting, lastly, for the triple PFA to be implemented, where we can bring economic transformation to our people. But up to now, the ruling party have admitted that they have failed the people of this town.
Thank you for your opening remarks. The ANC, we go to the PBI now, sir. Very quickly, in a minute, tell us what you think the people of this municipality need.
Thank you, ma'am. I am a born-again Christian, and I'm not confused at all. The PBI prides itself in its track record of 5 years that we have been the most effective opposition party in the Council of George. We have fought corruption with all the commitment in us. We have fought for local economic development. We have fought for the integration of the economy so that we break the strong arm of only certain racial groups in the economy. And we have influenced policy immensely within this council, thereby the preferential procurement framework policy as well as the black economic empowerment policy. We are fighting for socio-economic development. We are fighting for youth development, and one of the main issues in George and surrounding areas is the issue of housing. It is a matter of fact that squatter camps have increased since the DA has ruled this town for the last 16 years. And all over, squatter camps are going up, and we cannot allow God's people to be treated as animals, because those people in squatter camps have been created by the same God than you and I.
Thank you for your opening remarks.
Yes.
So we go to Ikosa now. So very quickly, your contribution to this municipality and the community.
Well, thank you first of all for giving us this chance. First of all, we want better housing for all our people, no matter what race you are. We want better use of our natural resources. We want cheaper water as well as cheaper electricity for all our people. Then we want to empower our youth. We want better youth development for everyone. We want our people to have more chances, for equal chances for work as well. And we want to dig our people out of a hole that the DA has digged our people in for the last 16 years. So that is what we're for.
Right. Well, thank you for your opening remarks, gentlemen. Unfortunately, we have no leaders in the panel, but I'm sure that's okay. Well, as ANN7, we have been running a poll survey, and the following question was asked to people across the province of the Western Cape, and what we asked them is, which party they think will win and govern most municipalities in the Western Cape come the 3rd of August. And their responses may help to shed some kind of light on how they feel and their mood as we approach the elections. I'll just give you a brief of the responses that we got. People who thought the Democratic Alliance will govern most municipalities in the Western Cape came up to 37.5%. Following closely was the ANC with 31%, and lastly was the EFF with a measly 2%. I just want to get responses and reactions from my panelists here. I'll start with you from the Democratic Alliance, the mayoral candidate, Councillor Nike. Your response and your reaction to this survey.
Well, in my view, I'm not sure where you have done that survey. You said it's all over the Western Cape.
This is all over the province, the Western Cape. We've spoken to people from different towns and cities.
Okay, but this is a clear indication of where the loyalty of people lies. And it also is an indication of what people have been receiving this past 5 years. And I think people can be assured of, they know what the DA can deliver, and they know that they will get better service. And if we bring it closer to home, with the new elections coming up, and with a new vision in mind of where we can take this town, we can only better on service delivery for people in the George municipality. Right.
The ANC is closely hot on your heels with a 31% poll survey. Are you feeling any kind of pressure there?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. What is currently happening within George, and I would like to request the ANC to go look in his own backyard, his stronghold, the Tembaletu here by us in George. They must go and have a look of what is happening here. People are starting to realize what is happening countrywide. They see what they have within George, and they know what they can get. The one thing is that people have been deprived. We said that we acknowledge that people have fight for freedom. But we can't talk about freedom if people are still living in poverty, people still do not have proper roads, people still do not have access to job opportunities. And this is the reality on the ground.
And we'll come back to all those points. I just want to get a reaction from the ANC. Councillor Williams, you seem to be making inroads when it comes to being the official opposition party in the Western Cape. How confident are you feeling as we approach the elections with these numbers?
Ma'am, we are so confident that in 2016, the DA won't rule George. That's the first thing. The reason why I say that, because the DA have been ruling George because most of the colored votes have been voting for the DA. But if you look at parties which have registered now, it's 14 parties, 12 and 11 of those parties are coming out of the colored communities, which means that that 11, 12 parties will take their votes to the parties they've established, and that will reduce the numbers of the DA. Ours as the ANC is just to maintain our percentage, and we will win jobs.
It appears you have a strategy going for you there as the ANC. We'll see if it works for you come the 3rd of August. I want to get a reaction from the ACDP. Do you have real, expectations of winning a number of seats that make sure that you have some kind of influence in this municipality?
Well, I think at the moment it's highly hypocritical for the DA to mention the ANC while just across the bridge into a place like Blanco, where Mr. Nike is the ward councillor still there, where you see people that are in the city living in the most deprived situations that you can imagine. You've got a squatter camp right there with children that got to live in mud poles. You've got sewage running there. You've got a housing that the roofs are leaking, breaking down.
And it brings me back to the question I asked you just now, like as the ACDP, do you have expectations of actually winning this municipality or at least increasing the number of your seats? And if you do, how do you plan on doing it?
Absolutely. I think our main focus, and that's why...
this is the only way you can make a difference.
It's the only way.
Issues.
And that's why what we have done is to say that there's so much talk, there's so much strategy, there's so much promises that people are making, but you don't get delivery from those. And what we've said is, and that's why when I started off at the beginning saying that we are busy practically going into these communities and helping where there's houses that are being broken down, we help to build them up. We've started numerous soup kitchens in some of our poorest communities, places where the DA and where the ANC find themselves in at the moment, where none of them have done these things. And what we are saying is that we want to prove to people that which we are convinced and convicted about is what we're busy doing. And people are responding incredibly to that. People can't believe that we are actually dirtying in our hands to go to their communities to go and help them. And the response we've gotten was amazing because people are sick and tired of promises from both sides.
Right. Because
the reason why the ANC is where it is because it let the people down in the first place. And we are seeing the DA going exactly the same direction because the DA at the moment is making promises, but they're looking after a certain segment of this community.
I want to come back to the Democratic Alliance for a minute there. Councillor Nike, it's important for a municipality to be stable, for you to be able to serve the people of your municipality. We have been reading, in print media that your caucus as a Democratic Alliance has decided to fire the executive mayor of this municipality. Would you like to explain that to the electorate so they have some kind of clarity over what's happening?
Well, if I can comment on that is, I think within each party there's some certain rules. There's caucus rules. We have a federal constitution, and if there is problems that is being experienced, and that should be taken to a higher level, and this is what has happened here. And to respond to your wording that we would like to fire the mayor, that's not at all the case. All that we have requested is that we have a situation in George, and we have forwarded that to our federal executive, and they are dealing with the matter.
Right. I want a reaction from the PBI. So, is there stability in this municipality?
Yeah, there's a lot of instability in the city at the moment, and specifically within the government, because of camps and because of personal agendas, and therefore service delivery suffers. But let me zoom on your first point. It is the extreme form of hypocrisy when the ACDP comes here today to attack the Democratic Alliance. They have been in power with the DA for 5 years. And they have done nothing. They haven't pulled out. They have agreed with them even on wrong decisions, on corrupt decisions. So it's the extreme form of hypocrisy. What we say is, in terms of your survey, the flip side of the coin is that the percentages of your survey, it means that there's a 25% out there of people, of voters, that are indecisive. There's 24% of voters that are looking for a political home. And it's a significant percentage. It indicates that people are sick and tired of bigger parties and their promises. It indicates that people now want a real service delivery, and it also indicates that people are sick and tired of small politicking. People want to see houses, people want to see a corrupt-free government, people want to see empowerment, people want to come out of the trenches and out of the mud, people want to be employed, people want local economic development, and people want to do away. We hate racism. In this town, you deal with racism. The reason why we are not economically empowered is because of institutional racism. In this municipality, they had policies that only benefited whites. And therefore, the blacks and the colored suffered in this town. And therefore, we must now bring equality to our people, and we say enough is enough.
Right. Let's get a comment from Ikosa, sir. Mr. Adams, you spoke of informal settlers that seem to be top of your agenda of some of the things that concern you in this municipality. There was also an issue of having two communities where the other community is taken better care of than the other community. Your thoughts on that?
If you look at George, and if you look at all the locations where George is, where our people are living, there's more than 350 backyard dwellers almost in each and every suburb in the colored and in the black communities. Where if you go to the white suburbs, it's a better picture. They've got bigger houses, they've got everything developing, whereas in our communities, nothing is developing. If Mr. Naik is coming with saying that 37% is a good indication of the way that they're working, it's a lie. Because 37%, it shows that the people are fed up with the DA's nonsense, what they've been doing, and that the people are coming home, and that our colored people are standing up, and that Ikosa will be a kingmaker in this town in the next election. Come 3 of August, we will be in power.
Well, let's get Councillor Naik a chance to respond. Councillor, there has been allegations of black people and colored people, let's call it spade a spade. They're not being taken care of. This is the response we're getting from some of your panelists. Your reactions on that?
Well, that is, everyone has the right to his own opinion, but we don't have to agree with that. And that is a perception. And from my side, it's not the case. Within municipality, we do have bylaws, we do have policies which we have to adhere to. And as far as I know, we are busy implementing that.
Okay.
Okay. If I may respond to housing.
Yes, please go ahead.
A lot have been said by our panelists here, a few of our panelist members here, the honorable members here, and they're referring to housing. I want to make it clear this afternoon here. It is not the mandate of the municipality to provide housing. It's not. If we do understand the legislation and the mandates of the different spheres of government, then we will understand that it is the national government that is providing funding for housing. We have to apply for housing to the national government. We are an agent that is implementing that. And as a local municipality, as a local authority, we have to see that the measures are in place, that we have certain criteria in place to implement the housing, and according to the funding that we receive from government. As a municipality, we do not have the funding to provide housing. So the thing that political parties is going around with a rumor that we will provide funding. I mean, we are standing now, we are waiting for years to get in line that funding can be provided to the municipality.
Okay, so the funding is the issue here. Well, here's the PBI first, please. We'll come to you, sir, after PBI.
I have raised the issue of housing. And the truth is, just about 3 months ago, the very own provincial DA government cancelled a grant of 40 million rand to this municipality. It was due to a lack of service delivery on the ground. So it has gone back to the province. The reason why this municipality do not qualify for grants, or why they don't want to apply for that, is that the municipality is administratively not ready to meet the requirements of national grants. We have seen this many times. Last year in 2015, there was a National Human Settlement Summit in the Centre Convention Centre. And you can go through all those documents in the papers. National government is standing ready to give money for housing. The problem is that the local government needs to oblige to the criteria in terms of the allocation of grants. And this municipality is not ready. There's a lot of infights in the housing department. They have just recently sacked a town planner. And on Monday past, they came to council to ask for a town planner again. You know, the town planner has left the employee of the municipality due to infighting and due to people that are incompetent in their department. And those are the issues that we're dealing with. It's about politicking, and therefore people cannot have the houses delivered on the ground. Right. That is the fact.
The first one is, yes, it's not their mandate. They are receiving grants from national government through provincial to build houses. But the problem is when the funds arrive, they prioritize where the houses should be. Now, the problem we're sitting with, there are projects which are coming from 97, 2007, which were at this stage had been completed. But when it arrived here, they choose their own constituencies. And those people are still in that situation. And the 40 million, it's not a mist. It's not a lie, it's true. We have lose 40 million because the officials are claiming they don't have the capacity. And that's the problem. And lastly, what I want to come in, we are sitting 21 years in democracy. But there is no integration of communities in George. There are vast open lands where you can integrate these communities. We are still advancing separate developments. Blacks on their own, coloreds on their own. Because they are saying we are still a swart kafar. And that's the problem.
Right, so perhaps just very quickly before we go to the ACDP, what is your relationship with the PBI? I understand you're in some kind of coalition, governing coalition?
Yes, we are in coalition with the PBI. Yes. So we're working together in council. That's our relationship.
Right.
Any COSA.
Andy Kosa.
Yes.
Okay, let's come to the ACDP. Yes, sir, your comment?
I think the frustration that everybody's experiencing at the moment is there's a lot of blaming the whole time. And in the blaming, there's a lot of passing the buck. Our frustration, and I think the frustration that the people has got, is that you've got a DA government that's trying to sort out its own infighting with so many of their officials either being complicit to corruption, or they are being pointed fingers towards that. And that what we are saying is, let's stop with the fighting and let's get the work done. Let's get to the people. We have to ask, how are we going to do these things that we're talking about? The DA has with the new budget that they've put forward, they've raised the rates and taxes with 44% that we have to pay on our rates and taxes. They are taxing the people into the ground. They've got no other plan to get the budget to work other than that. We are saying we need to get our town to work. We need to invite industry into our town so we can get work to our people that need it the most.
Okay, Mr. Van Zyl, why should the electorate trust you? Are you not bringing the same policies that you were when you were in bed with the Democratic Alliance?
I think we just need to bring a bit of clarity. We're not in bed with the DA. We've got a working relationship, a governing relationship with him, which means that we govern with him, but on certain issues of principle, on principle, where we do not agree with him, we don't have to agree with him. And what we are saying is, give us the opportunity to show you what we can do, to give you the opportunity to show you how it looks like when you actually have got a working plan, when you've got industrial stands that are serviced, when we've got lots of land, we've got some farmland in the area that's been lying there. The municipality is busy with an audit on it at the moment, but it's lying there, it's barren. We can use that to put our people to start farming. We can invite investors. We've got so many people that want to invest in this city, but unfortunately, the service fees, the capital fees are so high. We are the highest in the country at the moment. So investors do not want to come and invest because it's too expensive, which means we can't give jobs to the people that need it the most. And that's why we're saying, give us the mandate, allow us to help you to make sure that people get jobs so that they can go forward. So that my daughter, I'm doing some work amongst the community in Timberlake. So I take my whole family with me when we go and build houses and do the soup kitchens. When I go back home, my daughter sleeps in a bed, she's safe in our community. But the same people that you're voting for don't care. Your kids are the one that's suffering. They're sleeping in the cold, they're sleeping in the wetness, and we're saying help us to help those people.
Thank you for that response. I have to come to you, Kosa. Mr. Adams, your thoughts on all these issues that are being brought up today?
You see what the Devil's Alliance are doing, or the DA are doing. They are dividing our people, and they are there for the middle class people. And what is happening is that there's infighting between between coloreds and whites and blacks because of this dividing, because the bread gets dealt, but it doesn't go to where it's needed. Like my comrade, like the pastor has said in the beginning, if you work in the communities, you will enhance the people's life, like the community shops that they are doing. ICOSA is also doing very good community works in our areas as well. And the DA is dividing us in that sense. The old people are, for instance, if the people's electricity is too high, water account is too high, what they do is they put the people's electricity off. Then the old people must take taxis, or they must hike to town from out of Timberlake or Cornwall or Borges. They must come in, they must hike and come to the municipality and please ask them to please put their electricity on, and then they must still go fight with their own councillor who's voted them into power, DA councillors, and then the DA councillor still tells them, you want everything for free, you can't get everything for free, you must pay for it. How can old people still at old age, still when they only get pension, how can they pay for all of these services if the DA keeps on increasing all of the services all the time? How?
Right. Well, we have to come back to the Democratic Alliance now. Councillor Naik, I think the issue of the indigent not being taken care of seems to be creeping up again. I just want to talk about corruption at this point. Do you have structures in your municipality that makes sure that there's no corruption?
Of course. Within the municipality, we do have policies in place that take care of corruption. If anyone is being found guilty of corruption, it will be dealt with by the necessary, according to necessary bylaws and legislation that we have. This is what we are currently dealing with. The question of coming back to the indigent, this municipality, I want to tell you, is one of the municipalities that is providing one of the highest rates for subsidizing indigent people. If you go look into other towns, it's not the same. And we here in George, we have almost around about 33,000 account holders, of which almost 50% are indigent. And that gives you an idea of really that half of the town still have to carry, regardless of indigents being subsidized. The other half of town still have to help subsidizing and see to all that other services can be covered at the end of the day.
Right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for your input. It's time for us to take a break. You're watching SA Decides, brought to you by AN7. My name is Audrey Chimanda. We're coming to you from the Western Cape. This is George Municipality. Stay with us.